I love podcasts like this. I don't ever look at the sheet really. The first question on the sheet was, how did you get into stand-up comedy?
It's a good question. I have a better answer than most, I think.
I have a friend, you see, one of my best friend's older brothers. He's trying to get into comedy at the minute in the UK.
Yeah.
He's just starting comedy nights. I'm missing his first one because I'm here. But obviously I'm going to go and support him, so it's a little question for him really as well.
Oh, well, this isn't going to help him at all. I'm sorry for this answer. So in 1997, I was written up in Rolling Stone magazine as the #1 party animal in the country. We wrote a 6.5-page article about me saying that I was the biggest partier in the country at the biggest party school. And it changed my life. The article came out and I started doing press for it. And I mean, like, people would come and I got offered a book deal. I got offered a movie deal. I moved to New York. I tried to stand up one time in Tallahassee because in the article I'd said I wouldn't mind being a comedian. So they put together a night of comedy. I headlined it. I did like 20, 30 minutes of just off the top of my head, just speaking. And I played baseball growing up. My whole life I played baseball. I was very competitive. And I played with a guy who ended up going pro and being a professional, great professional pitcher. I played with him my whole life. And I remember playing against him and my dad and other dads saying, man, he's going pro. He's like, at a young age, they're like, he's going pro.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably had the same thing with fighting, is that people recognize a talent when they see a talent.
Yeah.
And I remember being a kid and going like, well, how come no one's saying that about me? And he goes, buddy, I'm sorry. It's just, you don't have the thing in baseball that he has in baseball. You'll have it somewhere else in life, but you got to look for it. But when you find it, you'll know it. And I did stand up that first time and I really honestly did not, it came very naturally to me. Yeah. And I called my dad when I got back to my apartment and I said, I think I found my thing. So I moved up to New York. I started doing stand-up. 6 months later, Will Smith discovered me. I got a development deal. I moved out to LA and I started doing TV shows and I got my first TV show. And it wasn't until really honestly, and I was 26 when all that happened, but it wasn't until I got all the TV shows went away that I doubled down on stand-up. And I had some periods in stand-up where I got lost in television, and I'm really good friends with Joe, and Joe was very pivotal in help putting me back on track. In that stand-up is my focus.
Well, that's how I discovered you. You know what I mean? I'm a lot younger, so that's how I discovered you. I discovered you on the Joe Rogan podcast, and then started watching loads of other little clippets and stuff.
Yeah, Joe's podcast has a reach that's overwhelming. Yeah, you'll never understand how big it is. I mean, my bike broke down on the ride here. And it's insane. It's insane how many people how often I get recognized these days. And a lot of it's the Machine story and a lot of it's Joe. Yeah. I mean, Joe's unlike anyone. I know you guys know him as a fighter, but you guys don't know him the way we know him. Like we know him in a very different way. And one of the things about Joe that I don't think maybe the MMA community doesn't understand is how much he's put over his friends with his fans, meaning how much he shared me with people that would never know who I am. Yeah. I mean, Conor McGregor, I would never know who the fuck I was, and I went to with the Black Forge Inn 3 weeks ago and got to meet him. But it's all because Joe's given me a platform and guidance. I mean, and been a friend and he's a really amazing dude. I only know him in one speed. And I know that sometimes in MMA community, like Rampage feels like Joe's preferential to jiu-jitsu people and doesn't give him the benefit in fights when, there's certain people feel like Joe's team jiu-jitsu or whatever. I don't even understand what I'm saying totally because I don't follow it enough, but I know that I've heard that before. I only know him as the most generous dude I've ever known in my entire life.
If he was that though, he would have scored the fight the other day to Volkanovski and he never.
Yeah, well, I smoked a blunt that night and I could not figure out who was who in that fight.
I'll be honest, I was stoned out of my head watching it. We done a watch-along thing where I watched it and I thought it could have been a draw. You know what I mean? I thought it was 3-2 Makhachev, but I thought the last round could have been a 10-8 to Volk.